So how would the researchers in text 2 respond to the underlined portion in text 1? So very common prompt, probably the most common one on the paired passages. So we'll read passage 1 and make sure that we can summarize the underlined claim and then take that with us into text 2. So fossils of the hominin Australopithecus africanus have been found in these caves of South Africa. But assigning an age to the fossils is challenging because of the unreliability of dating methods in this context. And here, of course, we're not talking about methods of going on a date with someone, but methods of assessing or determining the date of some fossil. Okay, the geology of the cave area has caused soil layers from different periods to mix, impeding or getting in the way of, making more difficult the process of stratigraphic dating, and dates cannot be reliably imputed from those of nearby animal bones since the bones may have been relocated by flooding. And so most of these paired passages, the advanced level ones on the Khan Academy, do have some challenging vocabulary. One of the words here would be imputed, but I would say in this context it means something like determined or even like inferred, calculated. I don't love any of those as like perfect synonyms, but we kind of take them together and we get the basic idea. Okay. Stratigraphic, I think this is a good example of how knowing roots can be really helpful in decoding words like this, decoding their meaning. So strata has to do with layers, and graphic has to do with recording, writing down. So stratigraphic dating would be a dating method that relies on, as it says here, layers. Like normally you've got layers of, it could be sediment, to use a vocab word that we discussed in another one of these videos, or whatever else. And so if you had these layers, one on top of the other, then this kind of method could be useful. But if the layers were all mixed together, or if material from the different layers was all mixed together, it wouldn't be so useful. In other words, you couldn't say that, oh, this layer here corresponds to this period in time, or this layer corresponds to this period, because they're all mixed up. Soil layers from different periods have mixed. And so unlike what we see in at least a couple of other passages that mention methods in the answer choice, even when methods are not particularly important, in the passages, here the method is important. Okay, so dating methods unreliable. Fossil age uncertain. Okay, 6 words. It's getting a little bit messy here, but the fossil age is uncertain because the dating methods are unreliable. So what does passage 2 say about this? So archaeologists use new, I'm just going to cross this out, new dating techniques to reevaluate the ages of fossils found in these caves. The technique involves analyzing the cosmogenic nucleotides in the breccia, the matrix of rock fragments immediately surrounding the fossils. The researchers assert that this approach avoids the potential for misdating associated with assigning ages based on the layers. Okay, dating problem solved. Okay, I don't know. Dating method problem solved. Problem with previously discussed dating method solved, or at least addressed, rectified, overcome by this new method. So we look to the answer choices and we see, well, it's going to be C. They would argue that their techniques, methods, are better suited than other methods, the ones discussed in the first passage, to the unique challenges posed by these caves. And I will often say that the word unique is one to be wary of. It is a sort of extreme word. Unique means one of a kind, but I think it is supported here. The geology of this cave has caused soil layers from different periods to mix, so that is something that is, if not unique, at least distinctive. But this is the one that addresses method. So if we look at the other choices, A, if analyses of surrounding layers and bones were combined, then the dating would be more accurate. No, they don't talk about combining these, and they don't really talk about bones in general. They talk about cosmogenic nucleotides, and so A is not getting at the distinction. B, they would emphasize the fact that these fossils may have been corrupted in some way over the years. While that is perhaps true, there's nothing to indicate that they would actually say that. And then D, they would claim that cosmogenic nuclide dating is reliable because it is applied to the fossils directly. Is it? Is it? No, it's not, because it's they're talking about applying it to the rock fragments surrounding the fossils, not the fossils directly. And so, yes, answer to this one will be C. But again, a relatively rare case in which the methods are the focus as opposed to the findings or the explanations or something else. They, again, often like to include stuff about methods in wrong answers, but this is a good reminder that, hey, they're not always going to be wrong answers, provided that the passage actually does focus on the methods themselves.